if you didn't know this about me, I very much dislike to be predictable. So
Yes.
Waddle will be out, and we're gonna work some more Rob Hunt today to see where he's at. He got a little work yesterday and the day before, so that was kind of where we were at. We wanted to see because you can kind of control things when it's not in a team environment more. So then there's a little more risk when you get into a team environment. So then you wait until you feel comfortable doing that. We haven't had any setbacks, so it was a good risk, and we'll see what is in store for today. High stakes, left-handed thumb war with me. Bad decision. It was. I really haven't been worried about it at all, just because he sustained it. I didn't know about it during the game, and then when I found out about it the day after the game, he let me know it was in the first quarter. What play it was in the first quarter, and he played the entire game without saying anything, and has just been getting treatment on it. So it was off. It was off a opposing player's helmet in the first quarter, and he was spinning it through the fourth. He's gotten. He feels real good about the quad. He's been very intentional and deliberate during the week to make sure it wouldn't be an issue at all. And when he puts his mind to something, so yeah, it was encouraging. No, I'm optimistic about Javon, and the biggest thing is him not having any setbacks today, and so we'll see how he handles that, or his body, I should say, because like I've been talking about from the onset, the deliberate nature of him, you just really, really have to be careful that to not make yourself vulnerable to setbacks with him, because he's all gas, no brake on, really. So encouraged by him, and we'll see what today has to offer. Raheem is the probably a guy that I'm least worried about in life, in terms of I just know him so well, and his prerequisite toughness. He'll get a little work today, and he's had a good week and then Devon, no issues with him. It's been a good week for him too. Where Deshaun was last week, so the final stages of clearance will happen today, and optimistic that will be the case. Yeah. Each week's independent of itself. This one was really easy, just because the challenge. You have a high regard for the team you're playing, and we've been waiting the opportunity to play the NFL's best is just that for us. We're excited about that opportunity, because as competitors, that's what we want to do. We want to go against the best and put our best foot forward and see how it plays out. So, I think that is definitely a legitimate question. That's kind of, you have to, there's different types of scenarios, and a lot of times after a big win, you feel as though you have to manage the emotions, because we have another big game in front of us. This one was not that way. There was a lot of excitement about the win, but once Wednesday started, the Dallas game could have been 2 or 3 months previous for all the players' concerns. They have been locked in at the task at hand. Well, I hope not. Or I should have called more running plays. No, I think, last year was its own entity. I think this year, um, there's no doubt in my mind that we're better at really everything, in the really upfront at everything we do, just with a more concrete understanding, more reps, and of what we're really trying to accomplish. So I think that, you know, if you had, the one thing I can say is, if you had the exact number of attempts against the same, if you put this year's team the same number of attempts against last year's opponents, we're without a doubt better at doing our jobs, and which speaks to the not only the deliberate nature of how it's being coached, but the players, I think, have such a understanding and buy-in to what we're trying to do that they're able to execute responsibilities beyond just what we're asking for. They're taking stuff to another level. Henceforth, you have to be that way. This last game was a great example. To have success running the football when everyone knows you're running it, at the end of the game, that's a great litmus test for where you're at. That's a tough thing to do, and that this group here doesn't blink at any adverse situations. They were happy to rise to the challenge, and they sure did. Okay, I was wondering. No one asked me about that. So there's a backstory to that that's long. So, Dan's, I drive to work on Dan Marino Boulevard every day, and from the onset, when I first saw him in the building, I'm like, "You're Dan Marino," and he's like, "Would you be okay if I sat in a meeting?" And I'm like, "What? Yes." I'm just honored that you'd actually, be interested. But he's around in the quarterback meetings a lot, in our staff meetings, and in those, over the course of time, you throw a jab out here or there, and every time you throw a jab out, he says, "I've been waiting for someone." He's the biggest Dolphins fan, and he wants everything, every success that Tua and the guys could have, and so when he was going on the coin toss, I think there was some records up there. So literally, I just said that to make Dan laugh. That was the only because we talk about breaking records, and he's like, "Finally," And on top of that, what you just alluded to is 100% the case. Like 5,000 yards in 1984 is pretty much the equivalent of 6,500, I would say now. Like, I mean, that record stood for 2011. That's 16 years, 27 years, something like that. Like, so there's a reason it stood for that long, and it's a mind-blowing number. I remember as a kid just, being so involved in stats, and, I was a huge John Elway fan, and he wasn't sniffing 5,000. So, yeah, you're exactly right. That's like inflation, You have to account for inflation, so it'd be about 6,500 to break his record, I think. I think I've said this to the team numerous times, but the sacks, the quarterback hits, that is a defensive stat, team defense, because to be able to do that, of course, the people that are getting the numbers deserve them. They're executing pass rush with whether it's just straight rush or there's games or blitzes, all of those things, they deserve all the credit they get. However, there's a coverage aspect to it that I think speaks to the greater big picture of what the defense is doing on pass downs. So much of that, what's really happening is the interplay between coverage and pass rush is so tied together that guys are starting to feel how long they typically will have success if they can hold up. You can be aggressive in coverage in certain different ways, so that because realistically, you know that there's going to be a quarterback off the spot after a certain amount of time. I think as a defense, that's a defensive stat that has to do as much, just as much with the pass rush as the coverage. If there's blown coverages or leaky coverages, some of those hits or sacks can be avoided. So I think that it really speaks to everyone. The amount of players that it's what I'm really happy about with the Miami Dolphins team. Our team is a collection of people and a lot of people contributing. And when one guy goes down, another steps in and rises to the challenge. So it's kind of the locker room that the players have built is really strong, and guys are playing well with each other. This is I think people get lose sight of, especially with pads, helmets. This is a relationship game, and I've never shortchanged anybody that's I've been able to be on a team with there's a certain amount of there's a certain bond there that never leaves. So with a guy that I was there, that was our first draft pick in San Francisco, and Solomon Thomas is a great human being, great work ethic, and when you have a relationship like that, a former teammate, that there's a part of that never leaves you. That if the relationship is right, both sides feel the same way. And I was just trying to make sure he was okay. I don't like seeing anybody get hurt on the football field. Well, I think adversity is an opportunity for one, and two, I think it speaks to where your attention lies. So if a group of people are so focused on doing their independent jobs for the collective goal, and only worry about that, there's kind of a mindset that things happen in football or in sports as you related, and not focusing on our guy's hurt, and focusing on what my job is. Let the people that have to step up to replace that player worry about their game. I'm going to worry about mine, and collectively the idea of minimizing internal distractions I think is a life lesson for all people, because there's it's very, very easy to go into the world of worry of it's one of the reasons I don't spend, like, for example, how offensive line has played out this year. We don't spend a ton of time. I don't spend any time bitching or moaning about, this guy is hurt. It's what's the next thing? How do we adjust? What are some of the skill sets of the replacement, and move on. I think that's what you're seeing with the Cleveland Browns, is a lot of people were worried about what they didn't have except them. And when your focus is on the opponent and not what you don't have, really cool things can happen. And because they were put behind the 8 ball with injuries, now the accomplishments are that much more satisfying. So henceforth, adversity is an opportunity, because now they have this cool moment of a galvanizing team experience. That the reason why it's so cool and so impactful is because they've overcome some things to do it. That's kind of the name of the game in life and football, and they're doing a tremendous job providing that example. No, there's we've in practice. There's been an uptick in involvement, and particularly in this game, it's for really everyone understands what Waddle brings to our team, and then understands that it's an opportunity for playmakers to make plays in his absence. So there has been Chase has done an unbelievable job defining to me who he truly is. Whatever narratives existed before, all he's done here is chopped wood and gotten better and assimilated into a system that isn't necessarily easy. And he's done it with the intent of helping the team through through selflessness. It's been really cool to watch him define himself with his teammates, and take advantage of whatever opportunity is given. He also had a couple really good plays in special teams last week, and I expect to see a little bit more of him too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, got a few things to talk about here. First of all, who knew that TUA's thumb was injured and he had a quad injury? Never heard a word about it till today. He hurt it on his throwing hand too, which is worse. I used to play football, had both my thumbs broke, had my thumbs hurt all the time, but I wasn't a quarterback. So it is a little concerning. But he did play the whole game without problems. I mean, that you can see, nothing was noticeable. So I have hopes he's going to be okay. Coach seems to think he's going to be okay. And the second bad news, Waddle's out. Man, that's a scary one right there. Coach tells us not to be, thinking too much about, injuries and things of that sort. But guess what we are going to get to see? Chase Claypool. Everybody has been wondering about how he's going to do on the team, including me. I mean, we've been using him for blocking and running routes and things of this sort just to draw attention, but he hasn't really had much of an opportunity to prove himself yet. And one thing we forget about this guy, man, he's big. This is a big dude, and he's fast. So if the coach can bring out the best in him, he's going to become a good asset for the team. Looking forward to see how that goes. And then I'm sure we're going to see a lot more out of Braxton Berrios, Cedric Wilson as well this game. And where's River Craycraft? Man, I'd like to see him have some opportunities here too. Man, why are people so sensitive and taking offense at people's jokes? The whole Dan Marino thing where the coach said, "I'm coming for your stats." It was a joke, people. Well, of course they're all upset about it. You'll see that in the question, but he answered that really well. What else we got? Will Robert Hunt be back? I hope so. This is the game he needs to come back. Brandon Jones Robert Jones, he was a beast the last game. So with him on one side and Robert Hunt on the other side, that would be pretty good, I think. Let's see what we got here. Might have Javon Holland back as well. That would be another plus for us this game. Hopefully there's going to be a lot of run going on. I still think the key guys, I've heard a lot of people saying otherwise. They don't want, putting pressure on Lamar. They want to keep him back in the pocket. I tell you, that's the type of games he picks you apart. You start giving the receivers time to get open, and he can hit them when he's sitting back there without pressure on him. Where he messes up is when you put pressure on him. Then he tries to scramble and try to make something happen with his feet. Just don't let him squirt out the front. If he squirts out the front, he's going for a lot of yards. But you got to keep pressure on them. Teams that have beaten them or have played them well they've kept constant pressure on him, and that's where he messes up. He makes mistakes, and he has been fumble happy in the past. He's cleaned that up quite a bit these last few games, but he has been known. He'll hold that ball out there in his hand. He'll take off running and get a chance to get it away from him. So I think we keep pressure on him. Whatever it takes to keep pressure on him and make him get rid of the ball before he wants to. And that's where he is not so accurate. So that's going to be the key to the game. Someone else we haven't heard about, and that's Chris Brooks. This might be an opportunity for him to get out there too. He's really good at blocking, not to mention, man, and we can use some beast mode run in this game too. Our running game is going to be key as well. Of course, these are all my opinions, guys. Everybody's got opinions. You know how that goes. let me hear what yours are in the comments. Thanks. One last thing, too. If Holland does come back, Coach, please find a way to keep Brandon Jones out there on the field. He's been doing great. All right. Thanks, guys.